Yeah, hi there. Good morning, everybody. This is going to talk to you a little bit today about next generation virtual meetings. Lots of funny things happen inside our head, and for example, we maybe think those lines aren't parallel, but actually they are. And here again, we've got an optical illusion, because those two lines look like they're not the same length, but they are. And at the same time, if you actually read this, can anyone there spot the deliberate mistake? Hands up if you can spot the deliberate mistake in that. I'll give you a clue then. Can anybody spot two deliberate mistakes? there's thee, and you, yeah? So, yeah, if we don't pay attention now, next one up is which one of those discs is turning faster? Anybody got any ideas which one's going faster? A, yeah? Anybody else? No. Actually, neither of them are. They're both static. It's just an optical illusion. The next one up, getting slightly more serious. The human mind, through millions of years of evolutions, hardwired to interpret faces. And we can see here there's a little bit of confusion in our mind about the face. But we also see faces everywhere. There's faces in trees, faces on cars, and facial expressions. But when we collaborate, we're also actually interacting with our faces the whole time. So it's really important in collaboration. So this looks like a very nice woman, but if we look a bit more closely, she don't look so friendly. Over millions of years, the evolutionists would have it we crawled out of the jungle into the plain about 3 million years ago, drawing pictures in the sand. That's how we've evolved, body and mind, over a massively long time period. And at that type of meeting, the thesis here is this type of meeting is the best way we understand each other. We actually need to replicate that at the human-machine interface. So it's supported by a guy called Professor Ned Koch, the media naturalness theory. And what he's saying is that the closer the medium that you're using is to a natural meeting, the better the cognition and the easier it is to use, and the more interested you are in actually using it. This is sort of really important in virtual meetings. It's called the Baddeley-Hitch model. It's actually a representation of our minds, our working memory. So we hear things on the phonological loop, and we see things with our eyes. The model says we've got a central executive, but the episodic buffer is hanging it all together and creating episodes. The point is, if you look up at that graph on the right, you'll see we have a very quick loss of information in the short-term memory. And that means with virtual meetings, if we're handing over control, we're actually losing ideas as we hand over control. And it's a bit like the kids' game we have in the UK, it's Chinese whispers, where you're talking serially around, and by the time you got to about number 6, no one can remember what the first person said. So this is backed up by some heavyweight research, largely by Brennan and Clark. When we collaborate, we actually ground, we swap information ourselves, which could be by words, facial expression, in order to build the collaborative understanding. So in the picture here, we can see the guy in the check shirts not doing the business because he's not giving it his continued attention. He's not part of the community, apparently, although he might be, but he's not paying attention at the moment. He's not listening to what they're talking about, and he's not really in the meeting, or he's on the side of the meeting. and he's not sharing the visual information. So for true grounding, as we build that collaborative understanding, all those things have got to be present. So the three guys at the back are doing the business. And it must be synchronous. You know, one thing has to build on another. So my nod to your idea builds the collaborative understanding. There's another really interesting concept here with virtual meetings. It's or meetings altogether by Brennan and Clark as well. It's called least collaborative effort. It's what I call like a hassle. You know, it's like hard work to get something done. So when you think about it, when we formulate an idea, it costs us some effort. We've got to think, we've got to produce the words. Somebody's got to receive it. I'm going to pick on my daughter over there. She's got to receive it. She's got to understand what I'm talking about. We've got to ground. We've got to start up. If there's a delay in the conversation, or if somebody doesn't understand it, the synchronicity, it needs to be serious. All this costs us effort. And we've got to display, and if there's faults in the dialogue, we don't understand each other, we've got to repair it. So with the whole desktop collaboration, cuts right across those requirements and doesn't allow you to collaborate in a smooth way. So here's the effect of media on collaboration, or the requirements. Co-presence, visibility, all seeing the same thing, all hearing each other. One co-temporality is one idea following on another idea synchronously. So one thing after another, if you like. Simultaneously, slightly different from co-temporality, but in the same mold. Sequentiality, one idea's got to link to the next one. And you've got to be able to review it and revise it during the collaborative meeting. Now, almost all the desktop media cannot supply this, and actually cuts right across it, which is why, in my view, in our view, you get Zoom fatigue, because it's the cognitive effort of making it work. So what's the issue? Current media, like video conferencing, you all know, well, it's great, but you can see in this picture there's no workspace. If we're working on something anywhere in the world, we must have a workspace, and the titchy little box doesn't do the business. So here, you know, desktop collaboration's great, but it doesn't give us full context. It's not synchronous, simultaneous, etc., etc. We're not emulating a natural meeting. So the research behind this and our product, which is called nuVa, just over here on the right, was conducted, sponsored originally by the defense industry, doctoral research at Cambridge, collaborations with MIT in the States, King's London and Surrey. What they come out with is nuVa. So nuVa deliberately emulates a natural meeting. You can hook up for one conference 9 ends simultaneously. Not more than that, because if you've got 24, it's too big for a heavyweight collaboration, and you'd have to have facilitation. So it's in that space of heads down, sort of optioneering type meeting. It's software delivered on standard hardware, the horizontal vertical, so you can point down at something, then you look up the person in Hong Kong or Madrid, and you can eyeball them. Do you get what we're talking about? That's the reason for that. The context expands our thinking. I think you all know, you're all graduates. When you did your thesis and you didn't have any context, you're going to fail. Context makes us cleverer. And if you've got context all the other ends, it makes us a lot cleverer, because you're collaborating in a rich way without constraint. So I call this cognitive bandwidth in remote meetings. So if I'm trying to share a BIM model in Morse code to Singapore, we got a bit of a problem. Ditto on the telephone. Desktop and video, yeah, we can maybe struggle there, but it's going to be hard work. Whereas with nuVa, because it understands the natural way we work, you get a richer cognitive bandwidth. And so if you buy into the thesis that what I call the cave people meeting is the best way that people understand each other because of millions of years of evolution, the the Ned-Cock natural meeting theorem. And then it follows that it's actually the best way of interfacing to the world of digital. So as we all know, there's something like 5 billion people connected to the internet. It's getting better and better, the bandwidth. So the question is not any longer how much bandwidth you've got, it's how well we get each other or understand each other over the bandwidth. So nuVa is software. You can deliver it on big touch screens, home worker type, ruggedized tablet. In that case, it's probably likely to be one screen on site. You can take a picture of a situation and beam it straight back to the knowledge center for an immediate fix. It's all part of it. You take pictures, load them into the workspace at HQ immediately. Here's a little
working on a complex
short
project. When I say complex, I mean properly complicated, like a building, or a satellite, or maybe a hydroelectric power plant. It takes some serious collaboration between great minds and different skill sets, with lots of documents, ideas, and teams interacting using multiple software and working methods. Of course, humans have been working together like this throughout the ages. We can see the results in the world all around us. Great, but what if you're not all around a campfire? Or a table? In our globally connected world, we're no longer together, and skill sets for an organisation or complex project might be around the globe. And while platforms like Zoom and Teams are great for basic video communication, you can't see the bigger picture sharing one asset at a time. We all know what that's like. Alex, you're still sharing your screen. You see, true collaboration needs nuVa, the next generation in hybrid working. nuVa is designed to emulate a real face-to-face meeting through a unique shared experience where everyone can interact, annotate, write, draw and share simultaneously. Like a real meeting, you can all see everything and each other all the time, and there's no clunky handover of control, so the whole team can work together naturally. It could be documents, diagrams, or computer applications, which everyone can interact with, even if they don't have the app installed on their system. nuVa is the future of work. Just imagine the uninhibited flow of ideas. nuVa is transformative and gives your project or organisation space to grow with a newfound agility. It stimulates thinking, allowing quick decision-making, promoting innovation remotely. Knowledge diversity is accessible from around the globe without flying it in, which of course means less time, money and carbon spent travelling, helping every business in its drive to net zero. And of course, nuVa's hybrid working model equates to a healthier and better work-life balance. Through true collaboration, nuVa allows the next wonders of the world to be imagined and made real. Get in touch to book a demonstration and experience what real collaboration feels like.
Okay, thanks for watching that. So where we're going on the roadmap is it's sort of packing more and more information into smaller screens as we go along in time. But keeping with the whole natural meeting theorem. So the so what question, here's some references. Highways England, Amy in the UK and their products, doing remote design work UK to Thailand. We're doing a lot of awards from the Institute of Civil Engineers in the UK, and from acknowledgements from Wayne House and Frost and Sullivan in the States. So the so what question is, well, how does this alter how you're running a program? So instead of sending people out from the PMO to look at particular information, so you can just share the app straight back to the different regional offices, knowledge centers for immediate decisions on complex matter. So there's a whole knowledge management implication on programs. So, for example, with Highways England in the UK, they have a project manager out on site with road construction projects. They'd also have a PMO project manager that go out there once every 2 weeks. Well, he wouldn't have his finger on the button about what's going on. but running nuVa, they can share the same app straight back from the local project to the program management office for immediate decision making. You don't have to wait to go to wherever, London for a project meeting 2 weeks later and everyone hasn't turned up. You can decide immediately, which obviously means you can squeeze down big budgets. Similar concept here, but it's really about knowledge management, this whole thing. We're claiming that we can share knowledge remotely in a richer way over BIM models and any other model you like, using the knowledge of the people in the meeting. So we can have a knowledge center, site, and somebody in the middle. Just rushing through that. So very much in the UK, they're still operating in a serial way in construction, like expert 1 sends it to expert 2, ticks it and marks it up, 3, 4, takes 5 time periods. If you kit everyone out with the nuVa app, they can do it in 1, maximum 2 time period, obviously with massive benefits to big government projects when they actually wake up to see what it can do for them, which may take a bit of time. So finally, folks, new ways of applying knowledge diversity. We can beam anyone in from anywhere, black, white, or green. Immediate decision-making, reduced travel, the whole net zero thing. Alliance model, because we can share legacy apps from subcontractors here, no problem at all. You don't have to have the app to share it. Only one end has to have it, and you can share it back to everybody. Faster program delivery, competitive advantage, work-life balance, and the big net zero implications moving forward. That is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for listening.